we gather in the cosmos bright. Stars and ships take flight tonight. In the void where dreams do play. Soul citizens lead the way. Borders fade in nebula's light. Unknown worlds will chart tonight. Through the galaxy we soar. Endless journeys at our core. Borders fade in nebula's light. Unknown worlds will chart tonight. Through the galaxy we soar. Endless journeys at our core. Starry roads and endless skies. Soul citizens we rise. Charting courses never lost. Together the verses crossed. Squadrons call on the horizon. Battles fought, our hearts aren't frightened. In our ships we face the dawn. Soul citizens carry on. Oh, planets spin and light years fly. Boundless space where hopes reside. Brotherhood in every star. Soul citizens, here we are. Borders fade in nebula's light. Unknown worlds will chart tonight. Through the galaxy we soar. Endless journeys at our core. Starry roads and endless skies. Soul citizens we rise. Charting courses never lost. Together the verses crossed.
Hey, greetings, and welcome back to the Soul Citizens. I am GriffinGamingRPG, and welcome back. Today is Sunday, July the 27th, our last weekend of the month of July, and I'm joined with my good friend and cohort, co-producer, counterpart, the one and the only, FC, Fastcart. How are you, my friend?
I am very excited because I was promised that the last 30 minutes will be the FC comedy hour, so I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely. Hope everybody's doing well. Some shout outs. We haven't done shout outs in a little while, FC, so let's do some shout outs. We got Sandgroper here. The Prisoner is here. Hail, The Prisoner. Lord of the Trip, good to see you. Good to see you. Pops in Space, our good friend Pops in Space from New Soul. Daft, good to see you, my friend. I'm glad you liked that song. Yeah, you have to give the shout out for that. We really appreciate you all being here with us. There's Vaverick too. 07 Vaverick. Thank you all for being here with us today on the month of July. I hope you all are doing well. Fastcart, I know that the heat wave has been going across the United States over the past week. We had it a few days ago, and I know it started moving you guys' way. Did you guys get the heat, or was it like kind of okay for you guys there east?
Griff, I'm going to tell you the absolute truth. Ever since Vegas, heat is relative to me, and it's been hotter in Boston than usual for Boston. But compared to Vegas, I ain't complain. I mean, you want to make me start complaining about the heat? Send me to Vegas.
Yeah, I know. After you come back from Vegas, it gives you a whole different attitude of what to complain about, right? It's not that bad.
Exactly.
Right? It's not that bad.
I figured out my limits for heat in Vegas. I tried to walk the strip and broad daylight and 110 degrees. No,
not at all.
So it's been like, we've hit 90s in the past week, and that's technically a heat wave. But I've been indoors in the AC.
Good.
It's been fine.
Good. You've been chilling. That's good. Jade Star Watcher, miss you, love you. Hope you are doing well. So glad to see that you're able to stop by. Let's see who else is here. Shimpasta 070707070707. Good to see you. Hope you're all doing well. Again, we hope everybody's happy. Captain Jones 07 to you. Our good friend Captain Jones is here. Love having you guys here with us today. We're kind of having a different kind of conversation today. It's kind of a it's a subject that I've been wanting to talk about for a while. And so FC and I are here. Unfortunately, Yo-Yo's not here. Maybe she'll drop in. But we wanted to talk about this topic of what is your in game? particularly your Star Citizen in game. And so Chimpasta, thank you for that gift sub. We appreciate that to Jade Star Watcher. Appreciate that. And
Thank
also
you.
Quarthius, thank you for the resub on Prime. Thank you for the Amazon Prime. Appreciate that as well. But we wanted to kind of give this idea about your in game. I don't know, Fastcart, I want to ask you, when you hear people talk about in game when it comes to Star Citizen, I know it can mean a lot of different things, right? And there are people who will very quickly say, well, there is no in game in Star Citizen, right? But
Right.
but there are things that people want to be able to feel like they're doing to accomplish something, right? Because you don't just want to be just doing something, and there's nothing that comes out of it, right? So what do you think when people are talking about in-game in general? What do you think other people are saying when they talk about their in-game in Star Citizen?
I mean, I'm not trying to be condescending here, but I
Mhm.
mean, like, historically, in-game means like raid bosses and in-game dungeons and getting the best gear and latest gear that comes
Mhm.
out with different patches, especially in MMOs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
For MMOs specifically. For single player games, I mean, like getting everything ready to go to take on the last boss before the final boss before the game ends, and
Yeah.
making sure you had the right optimized equipment or companions that have their equipment and what have you. So it can be
Mhm.
different things for different people, or different depending on what game you're playing.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. I wonder sometimes if, sometimes we use terms because they're the lingo of whatever it is you're in. But if you think
Mhm.
about what that phrase means, end game, that
Mhm.
means the end of the game, right?
Right.
And I wonder, is that what people mean? Or what is the consequence of reaching end game for some people? And I wonder whether or not reaching end game means the end of this particular thing that I'm doing, and now there's something else to do, or do they reach a certain place? Like, for example, I've heard people say the Endeavor is my end game ship, right? Okay, so
So my
then,
answer.
okay. So my question to you next would be, and then what?
And then I use the Endeavor to make stuff, well, not make stuff, but to enhance my gameplay. Put it that way.
Okay, so you're
I give an
seeing,
extended answer later.
so you're not seeing the ship as an end game. You're seeing it as a something to reach
Platform to
for,
do
so
in-game
that you can
stuff.
so that you can do some other stuff later.
Right.
Not as your end game. Like, once I get the Endeavor, I'm done.
Oh, no. Yeah.
What
Right.
if CIG produces something else better than that? Would it still be your end game?
My wallet will hurt.
Okay.
No, but if the CIG push, like here's a real life situation. The Endeavor has always been one of my in-game ships. We'll talk more about that later. But
Mm-hmm.
then they reconcepted the Pioneer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, the Pioneer is looking mighty good now compared, because the Endeavor is so far away in the future, it almost might as well not exist. I know that breaks some people heart, but it can seem like that, right? But the
Mm-hmm.
Pioneer, they just reconcepted it, and they're going to work on it soon, PM.
Mm-hmm.
So it's closer to becoming a reality than the Endeavor.
Okay.
So it's like, yeah, if CIG makes something more along the lines of what I could want to do with Endeavor,
Mm-hmm.
then I would have to think about it. It depends on what the ship can do and the
Mm-hmm.
roles provided.
Okay.
Oh,
And
but I did want to say one thing.
mm-hmm.
We do have to say that sometimes clothing and fashion is the real end game for a lot of people, because once they get that last boss, and there's nothing, there's no further content to tackle in certain games. Clothing, making sure you have you have the best look as possible is what the end game is for a lot of people,
I would, but
especially
see,
like Final Fantasy 14.
okay, but here's the thing. Like, for clothes, you said clothing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, the issue with clothing, why I would dispute that, is because clothing people never get satisfied. I don't think there's ever an
That's
end game for clothing. I think clothing is always, you're always going to want something, like there's always new something. You know what I mean? It's not like there's
Right.
an ultimate something, because the desire for clothing, you heard of people being clothes hogs, right? You know, people who just keep buying clothes. They already got a closet full of clothes, but they still keep getting clothes, right? I don't know.
Maybe I'm different.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm different because it's. I mean, typically I find something I like early on, and I shoot for that. I mean, typically.
And clothing, you're talking about? And clothing?
Yeah. Typically, the what do you call it, developers for a certain game don't make something else for me that I like better than what they already had.
Okay.
So maybe I'm different.
No, and I understand from that perspective, you're absolutely right. I'm talking about the attitude of clothing people. I don't think Jade's in here. Jade, is there ever enough clothes? Let me throw that question out there. I don't know if there's ever enough clothes. I think that you're always going to want clothes, you know, even if there's some really nice stuff, you still go to the store and see what else is out there, right?
Yeah,
you know?
never enough clothes.
So I think if people are looking for clothing, I don't think they'll ever run into a quote unquote in-game. But remember years ago, one of the in-game items for a lot of players was something like the F8, the Anvil F8.
That was me.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, but again, that's what I'm saying. What does in-game mean? Does it mean that once I get the F8, I have everything I need? Or I have the ultimate, the epitome of something? Or this is what I've been working for? Or once I get this, I'm satisfied? You know, or does it mean like what you were saying that, okay, I got the F8. Now what can I do with it? Or I've got the Endeavor. What can I do with it? Right? Or does that allow me to do something else further in the game? So I'm only mentioning that because you mentioned earlier about how a lot of times when people play games, they have like a boss or something, you know, and usually you hope there's another boss after it, right? Once you accomplish it. But what happens?
Yeah, DLC or expansion, right?
Right. But what my point is, what happens if people have a mentality of in-game? I know there are people whose the in-game might be to get certain ships. And then I wonder, well, okay, well, once you've got those ships, then what? You know, like, what's your plans beyond that? You know, and I don't care if it's a trading ship, a fighting ship, whatever it is, you know. But anyway, we're going to deeper dig into this as we go along. So we're going to do some quick background here for you folks and see what you guys have some stuff here. I'm looking what Akuma here says. It says, my end game is having a setup to harvest the suffering of the innocent for my monetary gain. That's to say, have NPCs and lifelong contracts as part of the Hurston dynamics. You need to give a Colossal. You need to give a Colossal.
I was just going to say that. Colossal will get along fabulously.
Colossal's already doing it. Colossal greets us at the door with one of those bag helmets whenever we come there. So he's trying to already start a group like that. Okay. Let's go back a little bit, Fastcart, when we start talking about what it is people are looking for in Star Citizen. And I want to be real clear about this game. We're going to talk about Star Citizen more than we're going to talk about Squadron 42. So, because we know Squadron 42 does kind of work toward an end, an achievement at the end, but we want to kind of keep it within the open world scenario. So let me ask you this, Fastcart. What drew you to Star Citizen, the PU, the persistent universe side of it? Because you've played plenty of MMOs.
I mean, my story, I said it before, 2014. Well, I was around 2012. I heard about it, but I didn't. I never played Wing Commander. I was drawn more to LucasArts games, so I put off the Kickstarter in 2012. 2014 came, and they had CitizenCon, and I watched the presentation, and they showed the social module, and I was like, dang, that looks good. So it was like I was playing Star Wars: The Old Republic back then, but that's more science fantasy. It's more fantasy than science fiction, in my opinion. A lot of people will disagree, but it's, my personal opinion. So there was a lack of quality, purely sci-fi games, especially around 2014. So that's what drew me, because I saw it, and the presentation blew me away. When I saw that Art Corp Orb Globe, they finally added that to the referral program. I'm trying to get seven people to refer for that thing, because I asked for that thing back in 2017.
Yeah.
So yes, it was definitely that CitizenCon in 2014 that drew me.
Okay. So I'm going to ask another question. I'm going to do a little flip on this the third line that we have in our questions here, because I know you just recently started playing the game with some level of frequency. You kind of played when certain things will come in the game. You've played in the past.
I play every day.
No, right. But I'm speaking in the past. Yeah. You have previously come in like maybe there was something special going on. You came and did that, and then you took a little break and came back. But now you've been consistently playing. So I want to kind of that's why I say I have to kind of reform this question a little bit. For you, what has been the reliable gameplay that you can go to? Like something that you know when you come to Star Citizen, I know I can pretty much do this thing. What's the thing that for you falls into that category of reliable gameplay? Like I know I can come here and this can always happen when I play Star Citizen.
Well, just recently, just been doing the missions for the you know, the current stuff that involving hauling and getting
Mm-hmm.
some gear. Because
Mm-hmm.
what drew me was the fact that it's permanent gear. I've always said that I'm not playing the game because nothing's permanent. AUC is always going to get reset, but now they're
Okay.
giving us permanent reward. So that's what like, hey, okay, this
So
is
the
this
so
may be my one and only time to get this stuff. So let me
So the race for
play now.
Stanton thing, is it because it's gear that is exclusive to a time frame, and then after that you won't be able to access it anymore? Is that what's
Exactly.
got you
Yep.
about it? Okay. The reason why I'm asking is
Yeah.
because permanent gear has been around for a little bit now. Like when we did the Hathor missions, whatever you got there, you could keep, but you can still do that, right? You can still go do that one. But the race for Stanton is a limited time kind of thing, and that's kind of what really drew your attention, was doing that.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. So my next question, okay, for me, I got to make sure I ask myself these same questions.
Yeah.
For
definitely do
me,
that.
my reliable gameplay is cargo hauling, right? Is doing some form of trade or cargo hauling. That's something I know I can almost always come to and do. Even when the prices fluctuate or whatever, I know I can usually still do that. I was going to say mining at first, but mining kind of had a period of it gets its moments of unreliability, right? Where you go out to do something and all of a sudden you can't scan rocks anymore. So it kind of shuts down the whole thing. So before I would have said mining, because mining was really pretty reliable. And also it was one of the careers that they were constantly kind of building on, right? And tearing it up. But then a couple of times over the last couple of years, there have been times where long periods of time ago where mining just was just not good. It wasn't in a good place anymore. Some people would probably say bunkers because you can almost always do bunkers or something like that. But even those sometimes weren't reliable. But I think that's probably my most reliable. Now, my next question was going to be, what is the unreliable thing in the game? Like if you've done it.
Wait.
Oh, sure.
Wait. Before you get to that, what drew you into Star Citizen?
Oh, boy. I was playing I was playing Eve.
Right.
And I was only playing Eve because Star Wars Galaxies died for me. And so when I saw this game, I kind of saw the possibilities of how this could be much closer to Star Wars Galaxies than Eve was. And so then when I found out about the persistent universe side of it, the MMO side of it, that really also kind of drew me in a little bit more. Weirdly enough, when I first saw it, I didn't like the ship designs. Like I definitely didn't like the Aurora. And I didn't like the Hornet. The only ship I liked was the Avenger. That was the only ship that I saw that I liked. And it was only because that reminded me of the NASA space shuttle. And so that was actually the first ship I bought, was the Avenger. Because when the first ones came out, I didn't like them, so I didn't buy anything. When the Avenger came out, that's when I bought in. Later on, I came to appreciate those ships and like them more, but in the beginning, I didn't like them at all. So that's what kind of drew me in, was the definitely the NASA thing with the shuttle. I thought was cool because I'm a big space nerd fan of our space community here. And then the fact that it was possibly going to be something where I went into Eve very optimistic, but I got very disappointed over the years because it just didn't turn into. Eve was also in development. It was still being built out. And that was I came in the year 3 and I had been in there till year 10. And there was still stuff that just wasn't working in that game. The bounty hunting system wasn't working in the game. The balance wasn't right. It was really great for people if you were in a big org, but little people had, it was tough for little people in that game.
I was in a little person.
Yeah. They were fleshing out stuff with trading still. There was a lot that just wasn't working. And they were putting out updates. I forget what they called their updates, those big patches they would do maybe once or twice a year. The expansions would come out, which were basically updates, right? That's basically what they were. Right. They kept calling them expansions, but they were just DLC updates. But they would put the updates out.
But they were free.
They were free, but the problems would still remain. They still didn't fix stuff. They'd just be adding stuff. Kind of funny, right? That we're back in that situation again. They weren't fixing things. So yeah, I was open to coming this way and trying something a little bit different.
To your point, I like the Constellation from
Yeah.
2014,
Mhm.
and I did like the Hornet because I like the role of the Hornet because it was a
Mhm.
tankier dogfighter
Mhm.
than like to say something like a light fighter because
Mhm.
I needed something tanky because I was gonna take hits. I knew I was gonna take hits,
Mhm.
so that's why I was okay with the Hornet.
Yeah, I didn't like the Hornet because, and I know some people are not going to like when I say this. Probably, it looked too current. It looked like a military fighter to me,
Oh, okay,
and that
right,
was
yeah.
okay. But I was looking
That's
for something
that's
a
valid.
little more spacey, I guess you
Mhm.
could say. And
Saber.
well, you know what? No, the what you columns were out. The consolidated outlines, the Mustangs were there, and those were kind
Okay.
of nice. Those were kind of nice. But because I favored the space shuttle, I went with the Avenger instead of the Mustangs. But yeah, that just didn't grab me. I don't know. You know, the old radiator in the front and the fans and all that stuff. I was like, all right.
I heard someone complaining about the radiators yesterday. In fact,
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, I can see why it bothered some people. I just know it was that prevalent that
yeah.
it bothered people.
Yeah, I mean, back in 2012, we thought it was amazing. You know what I mean? Some people did. I was just, it's just, you know, but anyway, that's a whole other story. Thrakazogs, as always, thank you so much. 45 months on the sub. Appreciate that. And Blue Hunter, thank you for the resub for 4 months. And you guys have helped us reach our July goal. So thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate that.
you.
We appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so let's talk about what's unreliable. What's in the game that you know of that's unreliable? And I know I say here about unreliable go-to gameplay, but you know, as far as when you're trying to play the game and you're trying to achieve some things, and we kind of keep this in the context of in-game could just be just trying to finish up what it is, you know, get to the next level of something. What's probably the most unreliable thing for you that's happened while you've been playing the game?
Yeah, people already said it in the I have a couple of answers, but
Okay.
people already said it in chat.
Uh-huh.
Anything with elevators involved, unreliable. That's that's the easy go-to cop-out answer, obviously, but it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, we joke like, okay, just 2 days ago, I called the elevator
Uh-huh.
and it was black. It was darkness
Right.
inside.
Right.
When was the last time you saw that happen?
It's been a while. It's been a while since I've had, but it happens. But it's been a while since I've had it happen to me.
So I did not step in.
Right.
Catherine Jones was in Discord with me when it happened.
Mhm.
She suggested that I toss something in to see if it took. I tossed a burrito on. I listened. I didn't hear it hit the bottom.
That's funny.
So I out F4 and came back and it was there.
Yeah.
Because I was in my hangar, so it was the only way out.
Yeah.
There's no way for me to get out.
There's actually
the elevator.
there's actually kind of a trick. It depends, and it depends now. So I'm not telling you to do this. If you look in the elevator and you see the shaft, don't go in it. If you go in the elevator and you see if you see all black, then usually the elevator is there. So it all just depends. If you just see all black, usually you can go in and the elevator is there. But if you see the shaft, do not go in. That's usually. I said usually. I'm saying usually. All right. Emphasize that. Usually.
I hear you. I am not going to trust that. I'm going to hold F4 and hope
That's fair.
every time. Hopefully they come back.
That's more than fair.
Yeah.
That's more than fair. Mm-hmm.
So that's my that's the easy answer. My real answer is FPS gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something I enjoy. I can't aim and walk at the same time because I'm play with one hand.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my unreliable
gameplay. Okay.
Per se, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. My unreliable gameplay, and again, elevators. Elevators, unfortunately, is something that's outside of our control with a lot of things, right? Because sometimes it depends, right? Sometimes it's the elevator literally that coming out of your hab that doesn't work, and then sometimes it's the elevator at the spaceport that doesn't work. That blocks you from progressing. What were you going to say?
And you say that, but I ever since I this mentioned this new expansion, not expansion, but with the new pack, I've been hearing a lot of workarounds for elevators that I hadn't heard before. So there are some workarounds if it works.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's not as bad as it used to be.
Yeah. And I think the other issue too is whether we're talking about the freight elevators and personal elevators, right? Because those are also two separate kind of problem areas that they're having in the game, right? Cargo elevators have always had an issue. At one point, it felt like CIG was starting to almost get there, where the elevators, because originally there was sometimes you put things on elevators, they would fall through. I'm talking about freight elevators. They would fall through. Then they got to a point where only certain things would fall through, like when people had the mining, what do you call those things? The mining bags. Those, when we first got them, they would fall and you see the top of the bag, but the bottom would be in the bottom of the elevator. Then they started getting that fixed, right? But then they introduced this new thing. We had problems, before that with Wicklow. People would try to put things in for delivering to Wicklow. There would be problems with the elevators that way. So the elevators are an issue. And we know that. So I would say, but my other outside of unreliable gameplay, something that you just can't count on, I hate to say it, but bunkers would be so much challenging if they worked all the time. When the AI are working well, it can be challenging. But a lot of times you get this situation where the AI, before we had the dumb AI, and I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like the situation with AI that stay in the elevators that don't come out, right? And, it's like you're all pumped up and ready to fight. Then you look and you see the markers not moving because they're all just sitting in an elevator. And it just kind of takes the wind out of the situation at that point, right? Because all you got to do is just throw a grenade in the elevator or just shoot them and it's done. So that's unreliable for me because there are times when I've gone in and had some really good fun times in bunkers and times where they've chased my butt out of the bunker. I mean, I literally went and ran back on the elevator and got out of there, right? But that doesn't happen. I wish it happened more. I wish the challenge was a little bit more there for me than it is. I wish sometimes when the guys are outside of a bunker, I've had times when I've been flying in and they start shooting at me as I'm flying in. Then there are other times I can fly in and get right up on them and they're just walking around like as if I didn't land outside. So that unreliability to me it breaks the immersion for me a little bit, where I wish that, if I get within a certain proximity, they see my ship or hear my ship, they should start firing at me. I get plenty of time to get out, walk around, get behind a rock, creep up on them when I made all this noise coming in with a ship, right? So that unreliability of keeping things feeling like, in immersion gets broken when things like that happen for me.
And again, just like you said before, that's becoming more reliable than what it has been previously, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes,
they're working on it.
Yeah, Sandgroper, that's a great point. Outside AI should have a chance to spawn with a railgun or a missile launcher. Yeah, that would be really cool. That would be cool. It'd be, but it'd be a little bit, you'd be a little pissed off if they hit you with a railgun, man. They took you out. I'd take a missile launcher.
I'll take a missile. But...
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, but there should be.
It'd be cool until you're on the receiving end of that sucker.
But to his point, the counter to that is you can't come in as close. Now you've got to land further out and take a vehicle, right? Or you've got to walk in. So I think that his point can still work. It's like, it's just a possibility. There may be a chance that somebody does it, maybe a chance where they don't. You take that chance depending on how close you get in. So I think it's reasonable. Yeah, I think it's pretty reasonable. Okay, so let's go on to the next thing here. How do you currently financially support yourself in the game? Like, do you do certain things to earn money so that you can get to your end game? Like, are there certain things you do? And I do this because I know I need to make money so I can do whatever it is I want to do in the end. Because right now I know you want to do trading. I know trading is your thing you want to do.
Yeah, it's like I said, that like my current gameplay style that I really want to get into is in the game yet. So as of this patch, for Race for Stanton, I was Race for Stanton has been supporting me financially. That initial 400K alpha UEC that we got for those 4 initial missions that we got provided me with the ability to rent a raft for a week and buy some atlases.
Okay.
And since then, I started with like 100,000, then went up to 500,000 alpha UEC, then went back down to almost 100,000 after I bought all the stuff. Now I'm at like 2 million something just by running Race for Stanton. So basically all I've been spending money on is food, drink, and repairs and quantum fuel. So I haven't decided I'm buying anything else with that 2 million.
So that goes to my next question. And so as you're making this money, whether it's doing the Race for Stanton or whatever, What are you looking forward to? How does that help you move towards your end game? What is it you want to do with that money?
Well, I mean, in the future, what I would do is buy modules and overclock them and then resell them. That's what the super collider is.
Well, that's the
for
future.
endeavor.
That's the future.
That's
What
the
about
future.
now? You're
But-
making money right now. What are you going to do with that money when you get through and you got $8 million in your bank account? Are you going to buy components? Are you thinking about maybe buying a ship in game? What are you going to do with that money?
Again, it comes to I don't know when the next reset is, so I don't like.
I'm not asking you about no reset.
No.
What are you going to do with that money?
Right now, I'm just gonna sit on it because there's nothing
just
else
gonna sit
I
on it.
want, basically. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
I wish I could invest it in in some kind of virtual currency or something. I don't know.
okay. The reason why I'm asking you that question is because there are people now who are more than happy to earn money to buy the stuff in game now, right? Ships that they haven't spent money on, they will now take that money that they earn and they'll go buy. Like, for example, there are people who went out and once they found out how practical the raft was, they took in-game money to go buy the raft. They didn't go out and buy real cash. And so that's why I'm asking if there's something that you see yourself taking that money for. Some people are going to take it and upgrade their ships with new components, right? Or they're going to buy paints or whatever. But okay, if it's not helping you move toward any particular in-game right now because of the uncertainty, I get it.
I might buy a raft in game. I'm looking for the price in game right now if I can find it.
Does anybody know what it is? Is it like 3 million or what's the raft run? Anybody remember in game what the price is? I'm sure somebody here probably picked up one in game. Almost almost invested in a Tesla. There you go. Okay, 3.5 million or so, the prisoner says. Yeah, so yeah, you ain't that far away from it.
So I'm like 15. Well, yeah. I can get that.
Yeah.
Before the event.
Well, the cool is that it'll stay with you. That's the other thing too. It won't go away. So it remains persistent if you decide you want to do it, you know. Okay. One more question for you.
How about well,
yeah.
I was gonna say, you're gonna give your answer?
Oh, yeah. What do I do currently to financially support myself in game? I still do mining and salvaging from time. I've done mining recently. I haven't done salvaging recently. I did it a couple times within the last few weeks, but I haven't done it in a little bit. But usually mining and salvaging are the two things I will do. If I really am up to it, I'll get into doing trading. And that's always lucrative. You know, I was doing whole sea runs for a good period of time between our Corp Hurston and the Pyro Jump Point. And those were like full load runs. Those were always pretty cool to do. But I haven't done those in months now. I think since the whole sea started acting goofy. But I haven't done those in a good little while. But usually
Goofy
all the
how? Goofy how?
It was at the loading process. Something was going on with it where it wasn't working right. I can't remember now what it was because it was a couple months ago when it started acting crazy. But I rate my in-game. Well, it's not my in-game, but I make money with my main account so that I can fund my other accounts. Because on those accounts, I don't play. I don't do money making stuff on those accounts. If that makes any sense, right? One's a social account. So I make $1 million. I'll send $500,000 to one account, $500,000 to another account, and I'll just do that from time to time. And that way, those accounts, whatever I need to do upgrades to ships or anything like that, I take that money that way and do that with those accounts. So there's like my main account is what I call my working man's account. That's basically what I do with that. I make all my money with that account, whether it's salvaging, trading, whether it's mining, and then I just transfer money over. So that's how I fund my other joyful accounts that I have.
Real quick before we get to the next
Sure.
question, people are saying in chat like it's 1.3 million for a 30-day rental.
Wow.
What we discovered, or what we seem to have discovered when
Mhm.
renting the ship, is that you can't put a skin on it, so you can't really customize
Nope.
it. You can't take the components out and replace them.
Nope.
You can't replace the weapons or anything on it.
Nope.
And also what I've seen to come across is that because it's a rented ship, the one I have, I can't take the cargo off using the Atlas. And
Yeah,
that's
you were
so
showing us
something
last night. Yeah,
nice.
last night. Yeah.
So that is a drawback from renting a ship or the raft in general. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, let me tell you this much, Fastcart. If you ever decide to rent a car and go change the paint on it, you will find out that that's usually what happens in life. You don't get to do that. So, but the thing with pulling stuff off the grid was that's a bug. But it's too bad that that doesn't work because that was definitely something that affects it. I mean, you got the workaround for it, but still, it would be nice if it did work. I agree with you on that. Okay, so let me ask you this last question before we take a little break here. And this was like, what do you have in mind for your end game? And of course, I'm not talking about the end of the game. I'm saying, what is it you ultimately want to be able to do? And I'm not, again, I want to be real specific about this. What is it you want to be able to? Because there's a later question I'm going to ask further on. But what do you want to be able to ultimately do in the game? If you get to lay out, this is when Star Citizen is at a stable and it's got the stuff in it. This is what I would like to be able to do in Star Citizen. That's going to keep me playing the game.
Okay, so this is as opposed to in-game ship. This is something different. Okay, so what I would like to do is take my.
Oh, wait. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm ahead of myself. Thank you for clarifying that question. Let's talk about that first. Your in-game ship.
Okay.
Let's talk about your in-game ship and why. What is it about that ship that you're aspiring to, and how does that tie into what you want to do?
Now I know you say ship as in singular, but I have to put in two, because it'll be the endeavor to overclock the modules. Hopefully that still be a thing, because we haven't heard about that in a while.
Okay.
And then use my merchantman to sell the modules to players or NPCs if that becomes available. So that requires a working economy. That requires science and crafting to be everything that we hope it'll be, and that requires me, having the merchantman and endeavor actually in game for finally. So yeah, that is, those are the in game ships.
So
I can't do one without the. I mean, I could do one without the other, but it'll be more difficult. That's not my dream.
So let's go back a little bit, because you combined them, and I'd rather take them one by one if we can. Talk to me about the Endeavor. The Endeavor is a ship that does a lot of things, but you only mentioned one. Is that the only thing you want to do with the Endeavor?
It's funny enough. I had two Endeavors now, so
okay.
So one Endeavor will have this collider and a hanger on it. The other Endeavor.
And explain why.
Okay, the Super Collider. What they said back in 2015 when it was first concepted was that you could use a Super Collider to overclock modules, meaning that you could have a base module, like say a quantum drive or a gun, and you can tune them or overclock them to make them work faster. We don't know whether or not they'll cause them to wear out faster, or they'll have like a durability on them. We don't know any of those aspects. But for what we do know is that they'll be able to work better or work more to what certain players may want. Because maybe we would tune a gun to like have a higher rate of fire, but lower the damage, or have a higher damage output but lower lower rate of fire. So we don't know that either. But that's what we're thinking the Super Collider will provide. And and then you have the hangar that allows you to put ships on Endeavor. Like they and the concept, they had like two cutlass red. That was for the hospital module. And
so are you looking for just those modules, the Super Collider and the hangar? Is that all you're looking for your Endeavor?
No, like I said, I had two Endeavors. For the other Endeavor, I have the science module and the research module, because I want to, like, we don't. Okay, we have some idea what blueprints are going to be. So I'm thinking like you'll use the research and science module to work on blueprints, and maybe that'll hopefully make it more reliable for you to overclock or have certain modules or certain aspects on them that the players will want. And have the crew quarters on the second Endeavor. So it's all about the marketing and crafting and stuff like that for the Endeavor.
Okay, so one Endeavor is for being able to manufacture, produce, or modify components, upgrading them, overclocking, things of that nature. And then the second Endeavor is for you to be able to do research, possibly if it's the area of being able to do something with blueprints or something along those lines. Is that what I'm hearing?
Right.
Pretty much? Yeah. Okay.
Right.
All right. So that's the Endeavor side of things. Now let's talk about your merchantman side of things. What are you thinking about in relation to the merchantman?
I'm going to run the map and the general layout so I don't get lost in that thing on day one.
Hmm.
Other than that, people will hopefully come to my enrichment and buy stuff from me or trade because you never know. I may want something or might turn like a base, might sell me a base module for me to upgrade later and
All right,
sell back to you.
I'm going to
Or
pick your brain a little bit here, y'all. I'm picking on Fastcart because I want to hear his details because I want him to tell me his full end game on this one. We said sell stuff from me. What stuff?
modules.
What makes me come to you? What makes me come to you? There's a million people out there selling stuff. Why am I going to come to
Oh,
Fastcart?
because I will advertise that I have this specific module that will increase the rate of fire.
So you're going to let all the pirates know. You're going to let all the pirates know that you're selling this stuff. Is what you're saying?
not just pirates, not just pirates.
I'm just asking. I'm just asking. You said I'm going to advertise. I just want to know.
Yeah, but like maybe like have a cooler that may provide better cooling than the base module. So you might want to come to me for that. Um,
Okay.
or like have a shield that has increased shield capacity, but
Mhm.
maybe recharge lower, or vice versa. Have a lower shield but recharge faster. So
Okay.
yeah, you come to me for different modules, and maybe for blueprints, I have a specific blueprint that I'm not willing to invest in or develop. So you
Okay.
may want to buy that off me.
Okay. All right. So you're basically going to be an AutoZone, basically, right? You're going to be selling ship parts and stuff.
When you say it like that,
Well, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. The people can come to you to buy stuff, right?
yeah,
All right. Now
yeah,
listen.
you're
Look
right.
at what
You're
Jade.
not wrong.
Jade's dropping you a clue here. Look at what Jade says. She says, "FC, you should practice selling stuff by using UEX's marketplace now," and she's absolutely right. That is a huge marketplace where you can start seeing what numbers are looking like and what people are selling stuff for, and then when you translate that to your ship, you'll have some place to something to gauge against what people are doing in the game. That's a really good point that she's mentioning there. Let's see, and by the way, talk to Black Intellect. He's like one of the top sellers on UEX, and he could help you start looking at how to start pricing and all that other good stuff later on too. He's another one that follows that. Jaden and Black Intellect are really, really into UEX. For those of you who don't use UEX, we definitely recommend that you take a look at it. It's definitely worth a look. Now, the reason why I asked you about your merchantman is because I was really surprised. For some reason in my mind, it's not because you ever said it. I think I just assumed it. I always thought you wanted to do selling exotics and things that you couldn't find other places through your brand new merchantman. I didn't attach it to the fact that you wanted to sell what you did on your Endeavor and that you would use that thing. But I just said I didn't. For some reason, I kept thinking it was more you were looking for the more exotic things, and that's fine. Believe me, it's a trade ship. You can trade whatever you want to trade on it. There's no rule about what you have to trade on that ship. But that's interesting that you're going to be a mobile. I'm not being funny. I don't want to be funny when I say mobile AutoZone, but you'll be the person that people want to buy high end or modified parts and components. They can come to you and find it.
Here's the thing, Griff. I don't know about mobile anymore because that's gonna be three big ships.
Yeah, well, the merchantman, but I'm referring to the merchantman now. The merchantman now. If you,
Oh
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, still, that's gonna be one big ship.
Yeah.
Moving is gonna cost quantum fuel and hydrogen fuel, and just maintaining that stuff. I'm thinking it won't be mobile, so people have to come to me rather than me go to.
All right. Now, I'm not going to say where you're going to be based at because I know where you want to be based at. Are you willing to fly to other places?
If the price is right.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm just asking because, I know where you want to be, but, maybe people don't want to come to you. But the question is, would you be willing to go to, regions like just because Jade's here. I'll say like if you wanted to go to Nix, right? Where you're going to go to the People's Alliance and sell to people there. Would you go someplace like that?
If the price is right, I'll be taking a disposable, or not a disposable, a less expensive ship to bring them the stuff that they want to purchase from me.
Okay.
Hopefully the deal won't go bad.
Okay. Okay. You're just so pessimistic about life in the verse. I don't know. You have Eve PTSD. You have Eve PTSD. I didn't even say pyro.
You say that, and I never deny it.
I know, but I said Nix. Whenever I said pyro, but I said Nix, and you're like, but if I don't get blown up, sure, I'll go. Okay.
No, but I mean, part of the price will be hiring escorts to make sure I don't get blown up. So I have
Okay.
to do that too. So that'll be part of the price.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Okay, I'll ask myself the same question. Do I have an in-game ship in mind? To be honest with you, the ship I'm actually most curious about, there's two of them two of them. I am curious about now that you mentioned this earlier, how they've expanded the Pioneer, how it's not the ship that we originally were pitched, that it's gotten grown, and not just in size, but grown in its capabilities. So I'm curious to see where that goes. But the ship that probably really reaches me more than anything is the Odyssey. It's to me, I give it a little bit more of an edge over the Carrack, only because of exploration. I think the from what they've assigned about that ship in particular, and I like the Carrack. Don't think I don't like the Carrack. I own a Carrack. I like the Carrack. But the Odyssey to me lends itself more to me being deep space and being out in space a lot more. And I like some of the things that are on that ship, but unfortunately, because we don't know what exploration looks like. By the way, we're doing a show on exploration next month, so you guys might want to tune in on that. I'm hesitant to commit completely to it, but if that ship evolves into a full exploration ship, then that's the ship for me that I would really want to be like thinking about with a crew and people who want to go out and do something out in the outer rim or something along those lines. But that would be mine in the end, I would say, for that. Okay.
So what if they what if they come out with a future ship that,
it depends.
Might have
They could. I mean, right. I mean, technically, the Carrack right now, well, until the Odyssey came out, the Carrack was like the epitome of exploration for everybody. When we first got started with the game, that was the ship that everybody looked at as being the expedition exploration ship. And then the Odyssey came out, and so it doesn't mean that there couldn't be something else that's more capital, right? That could come out that's in that area. Even though, like you, I have an Endeavor. I like the Endeavor, the modularity and the flexibility of it. I like a lot, and I think that's what I like about it is the fact that it can be utilized for a lot of different things. But if I had to pick a ship that's a ship that's committed towards something, I really am looking forward to that ship, the Odyssey, coming into its fruition, and hopefully all the great exploration stuff that it may be able to do.
So for your Endeavor, you probably would kit it out for exploration and try to use it that way.
No, I know. I see the Endeavor as a straight Swiss Army knife. I don't have anything in particular in mind for that ship. I've got all the modules, and I plan on using every one of them. I plan on doing whatever I need to do.
Radio telescope.
Well, I'm in an org, right? So obviously, being able to say I could use the hospital ship to help the org out. If I wanted to do something with, like, I want to do farming, so I could see myself at some point maybe using the biodomes, for that. Because I like exploration, I could see myself using the research and the science labs that are in there for it. The radio antenna, I could see myself doing something in relation to that. I'm saying, to me, it's like that gives me flexibility to sample a lot of different things that I could do with it.
The reason why I have two, because yes, I have more than 2 or 3 modules, but I don't know what the cost will be or how much time will be involved in reconfiguring the ship. That's why I have two, because I can have one, they always stay one way, and the other one always stays the other way.
Yeah,
so I don't know. You have to go to Cousin Crows every time you want to change. How long is that going to take? It might take a day. It might take 12 minutes. We don't know.
Right. Yeah, we don't know what the process will be for that. And I think that, like, there have been a lot of people who have recommended that if you're interested in the Endeavor, that don't worry about getting the modules, just get the Endeavor base itself at the price that it's at, because more than likely it will increase in value. I'm not telling people to go spend money. I'm just saying that's the word that's in relation to that ship. And I've thought about whether or not I want to have a second one, not just because of the modularity swap out, but to what you just said, that I might have one in one location and maybe have another one in a different location. But that's kind of a luxurious attitude. I know some people who have 3 Endeavors, which is kind of like, wow, but that's because they want to be able to have that flexibility with that ship, to configure it and have different configurations at different locations. But, we'll have to see what happens with that. We'll have to see. Okay, well, let's take a quick break. We're going to take our quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to continue talking about not we just talked about our in-game ships, but we're going to talk about in-game activity or work or career that we're going to talk about. So give us a minute. We'll be right back. And yeah, we'll talk to you in a few seconds. Hello, hello. If you are seeing us, that means you are one of our subscribers and one of our supporters. And as always, we appreciate you and thank you for being here with me and fastcart today as we talk about in-game and Star Citizen. Want to tell you guys that we're next week are going to be doing our show on, we never got a chance to do an update on 4.2 and 4.21. So next week, we're going to finally get an opportunity because there was so much stuff going on with fixes and bugs. We wanted to wait till the dust kind of settled. It's still up there a little bit, but it's better than it was a few weeks ago. So we're going to be having that conversation next week. Hopefully, you guys will be able to join us for that. And hopefully, we'll be able to cover even more by next week. Hopefully, more stuff will be ironed out with the game. FC, is there anything you want to share real quick before we jump back in with everybody?
Nope, I'm good.
You're good? Okay, he's good. Yep. I'm good. Well, again, thank you guys for being here with us today, and hope you guys are enjoying our conversation. Okay, we are back after 1 minute commercial break. I want to move into this next question, and we talked about ships, and we talked about ships because ships is something that we do have in the game right now. We know there's a lot of gameplay that has not entered into it. There's some gameplay that is there, partially, mostly. There's some gameplay that we know that they want to do, but we don't have anything with. So fastcart, I'm going to ask you, and you can mention more than one thing here if you want to. But when it comes to, what is your in-game, and I'm going to use in-game not in the sense of once I've done this, I'm done. I'm saying this is the thing that you want to come to Star Citizen and know that it's there, and you've gotten to this point, and now this is what you can come to. You can always come and figure you're going to get some level of enjoyment, satisfaction from playing in Star Citizen. Is there any few things, one or two things, three things that you've got that this is what I'm looking forward to doing as my in-game in Star Citizen?
I'm just gonna give Griffin a heads up. I have one thing for the main, but three things for the next one. So
okay.
If I'm short on the first one, I got the next one covered. But
gotcha.
The main career would be marketeer, just like I explained, crafting stuff or modding stuff on Endeavor, and doing blueprints or what have you on the other Endeavor, and then selling them on the enrichment or coming to you. If price is right. If if that's if
Mm-hmm.
you have a problem coming to me. So yeah, marketeer will be the main career.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What about your backups? You said you got some other ones.
Oh, the secondary one. Oh, that's the next question. But okay, you want to cover it here? So
well, yeah. Well, okay. You're going down the list down there, and I guess. Okay, I was actually asking a different question, but we can attack these. We can attack these first because I was actually asking you a slightly different question, but that's fine. Let me ask you this then. Let me ask. I'm trying to say how I phrase this a little bit differently because I was tying it into my first question. What is it you want to do? Like once that career is established, what do you see yourself?
Money.
You're right.
A lot of money.
Right. What do you see yourself doing? I mean, what do you see yourself doing? I know you talked about the ship aspect of it, but when you say a marketeer, what do you see yourself doing? I know you talked about advertising, but what do you see yourself doing when it's fleshed out? Like, what does that entail? Like, okay, like you said, go ahead.
Whenever I make in-game currency, I give it back to whatever guild or alliance or that I'm attached to. Like in EVE Online, I would make stuff for corporations or the alliance. In Star Wars: The Old Republic, I made so much money for the guild.
Mm-hmm.
The guild leader called me the Grinding Beast.
Mm-hmm.
That was my nickname in Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Mm-hmm.
That's how much work I put into the game. And now I'm older now, so I may not be able to put as much effort as I used to be able to. That was like almost 15 years ago. Dang, it's been that long. But yeah, it's been that long. So like I would tend to give whatever currency I would have or extra components or extra blueprints, I would put back into whatever org I'm with. So that would be my help out the org and help out my friends.
So,
basically.
okay, so let me stop you on the blueprint piece because CIG just talked about that last year at CitizenCon, and they gave us a little bit of an idea of about blueprints.
Right.
How would you want to see that fleshed out? Like, how would you want to see blueprints work?
Man, see, the only thing I have, the only reference I have is EVE Online, but I don't see them doing it exactly that way. They're going to put their own spin on. Okay, let me explain what EVE Online did.
Mhm.
EVE Online allowed you to have a blueprint, then make copies of it, and then research on it to make it to improve the quality of the blueprint. That's what EVE Online did.
Mm-hmm.
For Star Citizen, I can see them maybe having one blueprint and improving the quality of it, but at a cost. I don't know about making copies. That'd be great if you could, because that way you'd have to. Well, from what they said in the presentation, is that it'll cost a certain reputation in order to get the blueprint. Is that, am I misremembering or?
I can't remember because there was the blueprints they talked about in relation to base building and all this other stuff. I just remember that once you read a blueprint, that blueprint stayed with you, right? So I couldn't read the blueprint and give it to you to read it. It won't either be one of us or the other, but not both of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm asking when you're talking about being able to do this. Mm-hmm.
Right. So if the blueprint stays with me, well, that means I can't really share it.
If you read it, that's only if you read it. So are you saying? Again, we don't know enough about this guy, so we're just kind of talking here. So are you saying that you want to be able to produce them? And that's what I'm not even sure.
And sell them if possible, or share them with my org-mates and friends if that's not possible.
That'll be interesting to see. I'm really curious. How do you do that and not mess with the economy and the market doing that, producing?
Well, again, we're only like 1/10 of the quote unquote, because by then, hopefully, Starsem will be up and running and fully running. Because we'll, as I said, we're 1 in 10 for the population of the Earth.
Yeah, but I don't mean necessarily the population. I'm talking about how do you produce, like if you're producing blueprints for, I'm just picking a random thing. Like let's say you're producing blueprints for, I don't think they're going to let you do this, for F7, right? Well, you could just sit there and keep producing them, produce, and you could flood the market with nothing but blueprints for the F7. That would have an impact on the market.
In my opinion, I don't think it'll affect the market that much because people who come to me will probably go elsewhere in the verse to use the blueprint. So I don't think it'll affect the local market that much. Maybe. You understand what I'm saying? Because people will go elsewhere. Like I'm staying in my home system,
right,
and then someone else will take it over to Nix or take it over to Pyro or take it back to Stanton. So yeah.
Okay, that's fair. All right, so you want to be able to make blueprints. Do you think there should be a limit on how many of a blueprint you can make before it expires?
Yeah, that makes sense. That's fair.
Okay. So let's say you get a blueprint, you can make 5 of them, or maybe based upon your skill level.
10.
Well, I'm sure, or based upon your skill level, it could change based upon that. And you and I both played Star Wars Galaxies, so we kind of know how Galaxies. You play Galaxies, right?
No audio. Oh, okay, that was her. And I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, yeah. You play
Galaxies.
You played Galaxies, right?
I did not.
Oh, you did not play Galaxies.
Final Fantasy 11.
Okay,
I played Final Fantasy 11 back then.
Okay, all right. I know you said the Lucas stuff. Now, for some reason, I thought you played that. Okay, no worries. All right, now that's interesting. I would say the career that I would like to see fleshed out is, and this is an interesting one for me. It does have still to do with trading. This goes back to Tony Z's presentation back in 2019, where and CIG has talked about this since then, where they talked about the whole aspect of manufacturing and the AI in the game, where there are actually factories that are built and there's supply and demand that's being filled by both players and NPCs, so that you've got an economy going. And the idea of me being able to set up a resource farm that actually mines in a certain area, taps resources from that area. And then if once that area has been tapped, I literally have to decide whether I want to stay there or pick up and move someplace else to produce raw materials, right? Because I remember in Galaxies, you had something like that where you'd mine an area, then eventually you'd have to go someplace else. So I would love to see so that there's not just this, I settle one place and, and I'm always there, that I know at some point I'm going to get less and less from the resource areas from here. And now I've got to consider moving someplace else. That may mean moving someplace else on that planet, moon, or mean moving to another system, right? Which kind of keeps me constantly moving. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to, he talked about how after a period of time, that location will start to once again get resources back there again, right? It may take months, weeks, years, whatever it takes, but eventually they do things, these dynamic things that keep the universe alive is the type of stuff that I'm looking forward to. And I would probably say my other main thing I would like to be able, well, that's probably the biggest thing I would like to be able to do, where I know I could bring in revenue from resources, because you're always going to need resources. Yeah.
A quick question. So let's say you're doing all that, but you see yourself running low on resources because it's about to you're about to use it all or mine it all. But you have a neighbor over by the way.
Mm-hmm.
They're new. They just set up and they haven't and they're still producing. Do you think you just leave that labor alone and say, hey, nice stuff you have here?
I mean, what does that mean? As in,
It mean what you wanted to mean. Either you could come in or try to take it from them, or
no,
you could just try to
no.
or you could try to make some kind of relation to them that's
Nope.
profitable for both of you.
Nope. Probably not.
No.
I would only do something that with somebody who's with me, like in my group or my org, but just a rando who's out there trying to make their money, that's on them, right? They put their land next to mine and they happen to get some good land in there, and mine is draining out and theirs is still pumping. God bless them.
Okay.
My idea is that I'm going to project and understand that at some point I'm going to have to move, that these resources are going to continually come here, and hopefully I'm having the foresight to be looking ahead of time of some other places where I know I can move. And mind you, I wouldn't set up stuff like in Star Wars Galaxies. You didn't set up in one area. I had mined things throughout different places. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I didn't rely on one location because eventually I knew that one location would tap out. So I might set up 10 mining rigs here, but I had another 15 over here somewhere and another 12 over here. You know what I mean? So you're kind of just making sure you're spreading out your resource aspects, right, over time. I wouldn't build just in one area and say, well, this is my only spot, But that's if they allow us to do that, right? I mean, that's part of us buying land.
Right.
But if you buy the land, then of course that means you got to be able to protect the land. I mean, there's a lot of variables in there, right? And the more places you got, that means the more revenue you have to protect it. All, whether you're in a lawful system, unlawful system, all that stuff's a factor that you'd have to play into it.
And what you said, it's interesting to me because I mean it's not marketing, but it is like gathering and crafting, and that appeals to me also. So it's like if 1.0 comes out and my gameplay isn't what I expect, something like that to fall back on sounds interesting to me. So that's a good main career for you.
Okay. Do you think that I've heard people say this, base building is the end game? What are your thoughts on that when people say that base building is the end game, that once people start doing that? Charles, DCI, good to see you, and thank you for that resub. Thank you. We appreciate that. Thank you. What are your thoughts about that?
You could say that. You could tell that you said that. I kind of rolled my eyes when you said that. I'm bad at hiding my expression. I can understand why people say that, and in a certain way, I can see where they're coming from. But again, it's like you said, base building and then what? Because you're going to be continuing to do the activity, and I don't. Okay, so what are you building up to? Are you going to have that full-on six station circle thing that you had at any presentation, or are you just going to have that one station and you'll be happy with it? And then you still have to maintain it. You still have to expand upon it depending on what you want to do, or what your org wants to do, or what alliance within alliance if they come to that. Um,
Yeah,
so
but does it have to
yeah,
be
I
a
mean,
space station? I mean, does base building have to be a space station?
it doesn't have to be. No, exactly. You're right.
Well, and I'm only saying that because it seems like that's what everybody sees as the epitome of base
Right.
building. Base building can be nothing more than your little hut that holds 2 bedrooms on a moon. I'm just
That's
saying,
true.
for some people, that's all they want, right? They just want their place that's theirs, right? And so my question becomes, and let's use both our examples, whether it's the little hut that you've got that's out in the woods, or whether it's the space station. What is the end game after that?
Right.
You got
Doing stuff
any
with your
answers?
org, hopefully. Doing stuff with your org, hopefully.
What if you're not in the org?
That's what you're not in the org. How you gonna solo all that? Oh well.
No, I'm saying, I said whether you build a hut in the woods or whether
Okay.
you build a space station. I'm saying once you've accomplished whatever that is, what is next? Because some people say those are the end game. I'm saying, is there something beyond that? What is next after that? What's the possibilities of next?
I have to think about that. I mean,
I don't know.
possibilities.
Sam Grover says
depends
fashion.
on.
I
Yeah,
agree.
okay,
I
yeah,
agree,
right.
Sam Grover. I agree.
Yeah, we make full circle, full circle. Come back
Yeah.
around to that.
Yeah.
No, okay. Ooh. I mean, I thought it just occurred to me. They mentioned crafting ships, but you need a station for that. But what if you could do it on the ground, like a smaller, like vehicles and stuff? I don't know. Would that interest you?
Crafting ships, you said?
Crafting vehicles
Oh,
on the
crafting.
ground,
What do you mean crafting vehicles on the ground?
like
Explain.
ground vehicles as opposed to spaceship.
Well, yeah, I'm assuming that the Pioneer's going to maybe do that. If they can do small ships, I would think that they would do vehicles as well. I mean, if they want to create something that does vehicles specifically, I mean, there's room for that, obviously. But I don't know if I would. In Star Wars Galaxies, I said this before. You guys have heard me talk about this. There were people who did nothing but make clothing. That's all they did, and they were satisfied with that. There are people who did medical, and their end game was getting to that point where they could produce that, make money, and they could do whatever else they want to do with their money that they made. And I guess it's very difficult to kind of ask what end game is, because right now we don't have a lot of this stuff there. But I only mentioned it about the base building because a lot of people say, oh yeah, once they add base building, that's going to be the great end game. And I'm like, okay, you've got your base built, you've got your station built. What's next? What? Like what? Like, I mean, what do people picture? I don't know. I don't have a solid answer on what that is.
And the funny thing is,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay, the funny thing is, Chris Roberts had like a 20-year plan. So
Yeah.
Bill's being maybe just the start of his plan. That's all we know. That's all we know publicly, because that's what they announced publicly.
Yeah.
Who knows what 1.5 will look like, or
So
2.0.
let's use other MMOs and ask this question: what has been the end game for those games? Like, what do those games end up doing when people have achieved certain goals? Like in Eve, what would you say Eve's end game is?
Building a Titan ship.
Okay, but once you've done that, then what?
Once you've done that, using a Titan ship to take other people's regions and systems and stuff like that.
Okay, so that becomes the end game, and usually for bigger orgs, right?
Alliances, yeah.
Alliances, right? That's usually what they call them, corporations, right? Corporations, alliances, yeah. Right. So Eve's end game is ultimately about conquest of space. Is that pretty much what it is?
It depends on the player, because some people have a smaller org. They could try like a economical end game with crafting stuff and selling it on Jita. Jita is a system in Eve. People who don't know.
So in game, so that's
a lot of stuff.
So that's acquisition as far as wealth. On the smaller level, that's what you can do, or on the larger level, acquisition of space.
Right.
And then basically, there's just a constant push for those two things.
Yeah, because I mean, other people want your space, and you want other people's space. It's back and forth. It was in the news way back in the day. Well, sometimes it still is. Like, this battle cost people in real life money $3,000 or
Mhm.
yeah.
So let's okay. So that's a space genre game, MMO, open world. And if we were to bring that over to Star Citizen, is that what Star Citizen's in game will be? Will it
Oh,
be
don't
acquisition of space?
you are triggering my PTSD,
And
man.
I'm asking. Listen. I'm not saying that there's nothing else to do. I'm not saying that
Right.
by any means. I'm just asking, what do you think will be the driving in games for Star Citizen? Will it also be acquisition of space and sense of now,
I can see acquisition of space,
Eve,
or maybe like acquisition of land, or
and that's what I was
and
about to
space
say.
above the land.
I was about to say that that's one of the differences in Eve and Star Citizen. So what else could it be? What else could be in game beyond those two things? Because I think those two things are going to come no matter what. But what else? Because Jade's saying that there are other goals, and I agree with her. What are some of the other things that could be in game? Because like I said, in Star Wars Galaxies, that wasn't the end game, and that was space genre MMO.
Before the last Citizen Con, I used to joke about this, but now I can kind of see it becoming more of a reality. The joke was people would take on 36 people, 36 man, but 36 people raid to kill a Valakar, and you get armor from the Valakar, and
Mm-hmm.
every expansion there's a power creep.
Mm-hmm.
Like first one would be Valakar, next one would be the Royal Stalker, next one would be the Whip Crab. And that was a joke I used to make. But now that the Valakar is here and people can kill it, maybe taking the materials from the Valakar, and because some people will want to be a big game hunter. That may be a viable career for some people.
Okay. So killing bigger beasts.
A bigger beast.
Is that what you're saying? That's going to be the end game for some people. Is just being
Some people.
big game hunters.
Big game
will
hunter.
be a big thing for some people. What about let's talk about the topic that's supposed to be the most popular amongst the community, and that's exploration. What is there an end game?
Dang. See, we don't know about that's another system we don't have enough information about. Cause
Mm-hmm.
like I said, you mentioned the Never. That Never has several modules for exploration. It had the radio telescope. It has the shoot, can't think of the other one at the moment. But the radio telescope supposed to be like the peering into the
Mm-hmm.
into the void to get data, or you can use it as a data not a data runner, but data gathering,
Mm-hmm.
and put it on a storage device of some sort, and sell that data to people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's one aspect for exploration, but
Yeah.
that's just we really don't know at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, I don't know. Again, remember when I played Eve, they listed like 8, 9 different things that you could be in Eve, entrepreneur, this.
Hunter.
And then ultimately it came down to like out of 9 things, it was like 3 things ultimately, right? Because you ultimately ended up being. And in Star Citizen, offering these different things that you can do, I wonder when people think about what it is they want to do in the game, whether it's being a bounty hunter or whether it's being a farmer or whether it's being a trader, what is it that they ultimately will come to this game to do that they won't feel is a grind per se, but it's like they actually enjoy doing, and that's their end game. I really want to move that to the conversation that the end game is doing stuff that you enjoy doing. It's not about the acquisition of some ultimate something more than it will be, I enjoy doing this in the Star Citizen universe. When I was talking about the people in Star Wars Galaxies, they made clothes because they enjoyed making clothes. You know what I'm saying? That's what they enjoyed doing, and that's what made them keep coming back. Sure, they made money, but they enjoyed designing and making clothing, right? So I'm wondering if Star Citizen will create careers that people come back to it. Sure, it's great to get paid as a bounty hunter, but I actually come back because I enjoy the challenge of bounty hunting, and that's my end game. And that continues. You know what I'm saying? Now, CIG can do things to freshen it up and modify it and do things to keep it, going so that it doesn't become repetitive. Because that's the thing that also becomes a problem, is that what happens when stuff becomes repetitive? You're doing the same thing over and over. Is that going to retain you to playing the game? Yeah.
And to your point, the prisoner just said for other MMOs, money is way too easy to make and almost become useless.
Yep.
And,
Yep.
I would hope, because they have, I don't want to say top minds in the field, but they have people in the development space that can look into that, and hopefully that will be less of an issue. It'll still be an issue because you can't really avoid that.
Yeah.
But to mitigate it to a great extent, hopefully.
Yeah. Jade says, I never have an issue making millions in the game. Yeah, I mean, that's not, I don't think it's an issue. I think that we're talking about like I know that Dark Knight told us that he had billions of dollars in Elite Dangerous. He had money coming out of his ears, and he had acquired.
He got more money than he knew what to do.
And he had acquired everything, right? And Elite was driven by one of two things. It was either driven by acquiring, like getting all the ships, or it was like traveling through space, right? And just going to different places in space. That was pretty much the epitome. I mean, other than the fact that there was also combat. But those are the two things that a lot of people did in that game. But they said once we got to like several billions of dollars, I can't remember. He had what's that thing called? A fleet carrier. He had everything. And he was like, he's like, my only money is I only have money just to keep my maintenance going on my ships. That's it. Right. And he started to lose interest in it. He wanted more to do. Right. So I hope that doesn't happen in this game. Right. Where people acquire so much that, after a certain point, it's like, well, what is there else to do?
Funny enough, I became a lone wolf in EVE Online during my last days of EVE Online. I made my own alliance, and I set aside enough money to keep that alliance going for several months before I quit the game. So obviously now it is dissolved because the money ran out. But I set it. I don't know how many months I set aside. So I could see people doing that.
Right. Now CC Creator says I have 12 billion in Elite. Right. I think that's what he's saying, because I think he played Elite. And again, they once you get all the ships, and mind you, they don't have as many ships as Star Citizen does, right? But I'm just saying, once they got all their ships and everything else, I think the fleet carrier was like the ultimate thing that you could get in that game. And then after that, it was just maintenance on that ship. Are
we going to talk about the secondary?
Yeah, the secondary. Yep. Yep. I'm just passing time. Yep. We're going to get to it, because if we can do that, we're almost done with the show. So I'm just trying to pass some time. All right. So fastcart's moving me forward. What would you like to see as your secondary career that you want to see fleshed out?
I have three things listed here.
Okay.
Mission running. That's currently like what we're doing now. But I'm not going to say I'm done with cargo hauling, but I'm done with cargo hauling for now until I once I'm done with my current corporation, I'm done with cargo hauling for a while. So mission running, I'm looking forward to doing some combat, PvE combat specifically. Okay. And maybe some racing.
Okay.
And doing, like you said before, exploration, because we don't have all the details for that, but I'm gonna keep my options open. But definitely mission running and racing for secondary career. I don't know what that involved me becoming part of a team, or that become if I'm gonna do probably space racing, because I don't trust myself on the road, because people have seen how I drive, so yeah, that'll be scary.
Yeah, but you've been looking forward to getting your Ranger. You've been looking forward to getting a Ranger for a while, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine me? You've seen how I drive. Can you imagine?
Yeah, but I mean, if the driving mechanic is done well, I think you'd be all right. Everybody figures out how to make it work. I mean, I know that's something that you've been looking forward to is the Ranger. I don't know why I wouldn't write it off. Is all I'm saying. I wouldn't write it off.
Okay, yeah.
Wait and see.
I'm keeping my options open, but hopefully it'll be. Here's the thing. I hope for the best, but expect the worst. That you talking about me being pessimistic. That's just how I see things in my mind. So I'm hoping that the Ranger is all I wanted to be, because I want my Akira moment.
So let me give you my response to what you just said.
Okay.
My response to what you just said is you are judging racing based on a standard that is a standard made by other people. And there are plenty of people like yourself who may be hesitant to do something like racing because of their disabilities. So
No,
why can't
I've
we
done
create?
racing.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about like to the level that you're talking about. Like when you were talking about you don't do very well with FPS, right? I'm saying there are
Right.
plenty of people. Why not there be a league of people that you guys create that go out there and race competitively? That does you can set your own standard of what fun is and what in game is, right? The reason why I'm saying this is there's something Jade said earlier. She said that if the developers are short-sighted and they only base the game around certain things, that does start to set its limitations, right? And its longevity. The good thing about a sandbox is that a sandbox, and it, mind you, it's still contingent upon the developers. I'm not taking any responsibility away from them, but a lot of it is based upon the imagination of the players too, and what the players demand. Think about how the players were the ones who implemented the racing aspect in Star Citizen, right? To the point
Right.
that,
They
and
got
I'm
it
sure,
started, right.
I remember CIG had already talked about racetracks. They had put the thing out there in yellow, right? But instead, the players went and did it on one of the moons. And guess what? We're racing on the moons more than we're racing in yellow, right? So I'm saying our in game can also be dependent upon what we as players want to do in that space. And if we
that's
make
true.
that known to CIG, that may also prompt them to say, hey, this is something, Jumptown, right? Remember the whole Jumptown thing? That was players who started all that stuff, right? Players
Right.
used their imagination and it kicked off. So yes, there is responsibility for the developer to create these different things for us to do. But then there's also the side that's our responsibility to open up our imagination and not limit. The question is, do the tools limit me? And if the tools limit you, well, we have to say, well, this is what we would like to do. But a lot of times the players limit themselves because they'll say, well, this is all that the game offers and there's nothing else to do. And I'm saying players need to open up and say, there's a freaking universe. You know, you've heard me make this speech before. It frustrates me that gamers have a universe in front of them and they only see three things to do. And I'm not saying, and I'm not saying because CIG gives them three things to do. I'm saying that they don't see anything beyond the three things that are in the game. They don't see a universe that says there's a whole lot of stuff out here we could possibly be doing, right? And then present that. Some stuff, we've seen people just do stuff out here that nobody thought of before, right? One of the things that came out of this mission that we're doing right now, the Stanton Race for Stanton, remember when it first opened up, everybody was bloodthirsty, right? Everybody was out there, you know, stealing people's boxes and doing all types of stuff, right?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Once the smoke cleared and once all the hype cleared, it turned from people stealing people's boxes to people helping people, right? And don't get me wrong, the helping was two-sided, right? Because if I helped you, that meant you got done faster and I could get mine done. But it was still, but we've talked about this, how CIG seems to want cooperative gameplay, whether it be people that work together that know each other. I helped the guy the other day. He helped me, you know, when I first saw him come up and he was moving my stuff. I was like, oh God, here we go. This guy's stealing my boxes. No, he was taking the boxes out and bringing them out so I could get them loaded up. And then when he got done, I was getting ready to leave, and then I saw him bring his ship. I said, wait a minute, let me go help that guy. And I got out and went and helped him do his thing, right? So I think that hopefully the players will start to respond more that way. Don't get me wrong, there's good reasons to be competitive, but there's also reasons why everybody wins in the long run. And I think sometimes that kind of gets lost. Everybody just kind of thinking about themselves, which is, y'all know how that is. But I would love to see more stuff where everybody wins, right? Like right now, everybody's breaking their neck because they're worried about the time limit on this, right? But now when you go out there, remember when Pyro first opened up, everybody was killing each other at the gate. Now you go to the gate, you fly through the gate, it's no big deal.
Oh, no, people say now Power is safer than Stanton because of the event in Stanton.
Yeah. Well, hopefully over time, as the game moves toward a further in-game or, completion, you have a bigger universe with so many things going on, and people will be more focused on doing their thing. A lot of stuff, we've said this before, a lot of stuff people do is because they're bored, right? A lot of stuff that people do is just because they're bored,
I'm gonna tell them myself. You mentioned the Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
I had almost forgotten about the Ranger. That's why I didn't mention.
Oh, really?
And I bought the concept 3-pack Ranger pack not day one, but close to day one. So
Hmm.
it's been in my hangar
Yeah,
forever.
I know.
So it just hadn't occurred to me. Yes, I do have the racing variant of the Ranger too. So
Okay.
I am looking forward to it. But like I said, I have my hopes.
Yeah,
But we'll see. We'll see whether my hopes and meet reality
I got
when it
you.
actually comes.
Okay. So those are all your secondaries? Those are your
Yeah,
secondaries?
mission
Okay.
running, racing, and some exploring.
Okay. Uh,
Like I said, 'cause I am a grinder when it comes to mission running, so
yeah.
I'll probably do that a lot.
Yeah. Well, my main is, like as I mentioned, is exploration. My secondaries will definitely be the industrial side of things. I love doing things like the salvaging, the mining, anything along those lines. I keep forgetting that I actually have a crucible. I never even think about it, but even that
Mm.
aspect of repair, anything like that is probably my secondary area. It's kind of tough because trade is also in there too for me. But that type of stuff like mining and industrial, that's like the way to make money a different way than trade.
Mm-hmm.
But the exploration side isn't about making money for me. That's actually about going out there and seeing new things and trying stuff and all the other good stuff and the science aspects of it. Not that you can't make money, I'm just saying, but that's way more my lead is that where my secondary things are about how do I support what it is I want to do, you know? So that would
And you
probably
know
be
what?
it. Mm-hmm.
The stuff that you can mine, you can sell to me, and I can make practical materials from it,
Yeah.
and sell those stuff back to you. So
Yeah.
it'll be a symbiotic relationship between the two of us,
Absolutely.
Griff.
And no, that's the way it's supposed to work, right? I mean, I'd rather
Right.
buy from somebody who I know, right? And I know is making reliable stuff. And then you got a person that you know reliably is out there doing the work to bring you stuff, right? So you have those relationships with people that you know, you've got your orgs, and then you've got the random strangers that just need something. I mean, we'll have to see when they create whatever what do we call it? House, what do you call it when you have more trade stuff? What's the name we call in games when you have a marketplace where everybody can buy and
Oh, we're talking
trade?
about the auction house.
Auction house, yeah. You know, how we start to sell things is going to be really interesting. I hope you've heard me say this before. I really want the TDD to come alive, right? I really want the trade and development buildings to be the places where when people want to sell stuff and get rid of stuff and buy stuff from other people, that becomes the space for that, you know. But we'll have to see how that goes, you know.
Here's a question for you. So you mentioned mining. Are you interested in getting like a Orion, or you're more like a expanse and stuff like that? Refining. How about refining?
I own every mining ship except the golem.
Okay.
Yep. I mean, mining is my thing. The
Okay.
the things that I'm into in the game, I own. So, that's why it's not an in game for me because I'm past the ship part of the in game. The in game for me now is doing the work.
Okay.
Right? So for mining and for salvaging, like I've got the reclaimer, I've got the vulture. You know, so yeah.
Okay.
So that's not my end game. For some people, it's like, oh, I get a reclaimer, and that's fine. Don't get me wrong. For people who are working their way to those ships, that's fine. But my thing is like I want to do it right because I enjoy doing it, so I don't have to worry about I got to work to get a reclaimer or work to get an Orion. And mind you, right tool for the right job. Just because you got an Orion doesn't mean you're going to be out in the Orion. You know what I'm saying? Because that takes a lot more people and a lot more work. You know, you may find that the mole is better or the prospector is better. You know, for what you want to do. And I still use those ships.
I might find that the Kraken privateer maybe more my alley. No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah. All right, let's hit this last one here. This is a little different question. What gameplay aspect of Star Citizen would you like to see that they always are working on, updating, it's always available? Like one of the things like in Eve, remember how Eve sometimes would introduce something into the game? Like, I don't know if they ever introduced stuff and took stuff away. But I remember they would introduce like that thing where the developers would come into the game. What was that race again called that the developers would mess around and bring in with the white ships?
The Jovian?
Was that the Jovian? They had those like really futuristic looking ships, those white ones. There were the 4 races, and then there was this one race that would pop up.
The Jovian. That was
the Jovian. Yeah.
The Jovian was the fifth race.
Yeah, the Jovian. Yeah. What are some things that you would like to see that Star Citizen would, always make available and keep updated?
My answer is make sure the economy is always evolving. Keep iterating on the economy. If something doesn't work, fix it, basically. But yeah, make it interesting. Make sure it doesn't get stagnated.
Mhm.
People have said that. I mean, it's possible you may end up with 14 billion UEC, not for UEC, but UEC in the game.
Mhm.
But hopefully, it just won't be sitting there. Hopefully, you have something that you're putting it toward, like maybe your org base or maybe your personal base
Mhm.
for that matter. So I'm hoping that the economy is always evolving. Keep iterating on that.
Okay.
And
Anything?
clothes.
Mhm.
And clothes.
And clothing.
How about you?
um, it's difficult when you talk about something that's 900 years in the future. I mean, there's some things that we feel like we know we will probably be doing some form of, like, for example, farming, right? You know, what will that look like in this game? Uh, we've got some locations in the game right now, like botanical areas. Is that what we would start with, where we've got those little, how they got the underground growing things with the glass over them? But will it grow beyond that into something where you have more of a hothouse design, something that's larger? Will you be able to make the same biodomes that you see on something like the Endeavor? Can I build a biodome like that on a planetary surface? So I would want to see the continued tier growth of various careers. I like mining right now. I don't know what tier mining is at because it's so weird to say, but let's just assume that they're like a tier 5 or 6, right? All the things that they've added over the years. I would want to see them continue to do, once they have the base careers in, that there's always an evolution of making it better. Now that's difficult because, sometimes for some people, like I have a friend who actually thinks that mining is too complex. They liked it better when it was like a tier 2. All the new stuff that they've added, they think it's too involved. Doesn't mean that they have to use that stuff, but they just think it's too involved. I really want them to continue to flesh out all the careers. I don't care which one it is. I think engineering is one that I'm looking forward to. I'm curious to see how they're going to balance that out so that it stays challenging, but doesn't cripple players that don't do it. And I think, yeah, the updating and keeping available. Yeah, I think anything that's driving the economy, anything that helps us spend money. I know some people don't like that thing of sinking money all the time, but
Yeah, money sink.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
but you need it.
I think you need to have those things. There needs to be the taxation things that happen. Like one of the things we talked about years ago. Remember we talked about this years ago about how maybe you get reputation at some place and you get discounts, and now they're doing that with this new Racist Stanton thing, right? There's going to be a 5% discount. I'm hoping that they continue to flesh out things like that give you incentives for doing things. I know this sounds really stupid. If you throw your trash in the garbage can, every time you get that, you get like a 0.05% added to your credit or discount at that particular location, right? That gives people
Okay.
an incentive to use the garbage can, right? And if you keep
Right.
throwing your cans in the garbage can, before you know it, you're getting 15% off buying stuff at that place. Or maybe you get a 15% discount on your landing fee, or you get a 10% discount on renting a unit in that place, right? I would love to see them evolve things to that degree so that not every action, but that our actions do have repercussions in the universe, right? Beyond, the actions of combat or just selling a box somewhere, but that I'm very thoughtful about how I work when I'm in Hurston or when I'm here. How does my reputation reflect when I go to these different places, right? I would just love to see that build out even more over time.
here.
Mookins!
Mookins,
Hey,
thank
what's
you.
going on, Mookins? Good to see you. Thank you
So,
for dropping by. Mm-hmm.
so while you were speaking, I had a few thoughts. Sand Groper mentioned elevators. We're working elevators would be nice, but that's the easy answer.
Mm-hmm.
And along the line, dancing emote, more recent or I don't want to say better. Well, I'll say it better. Better dancing emotes
Better
would be
emotes,
nice
period.
too.
I mean, we need
Better,
more.
better emotes.
We need
Period.
better. We need
Yeah,
more emotes. Yeah, we need more
more
emotes.
emotes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, also while you're thinking, I had something that almost blew my mind.
Mm-hmm.
There's a race. We have the four races: the Tavaran, the bird-like race.
Mm-hmm.
You have the Banu. You have the Vandal, the big bad enemy,
Mm-hmm.
and we have the Xeon. We also have the fifth race called the Kithart that we
Mm-hmm.
know nothing, basically nothing about.
Mm-hmm.
Now, eventually, CIG is going to introduce the Kirthok
Mm-hmm.
into the universe.
Right.
What if they come in and everything it gets turned on its head? I can imagine CIG introducing that fifth race, and everything becomes like we have to defend ourselves against Kirthok, and what economic or in game that could be the end game, like helping defend the verse against whatever the Kirthok throws at it.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Interestingly enough, I don't worry about the Kirthok. I just wonder what they are and who they are. The Kirthok could be benevolent or malevolent. We don't know, right? There's just some assumptions based on some things that are in the lore about them. We talked about this before, how in Star Trek, there was the interdimensional species that came out of nowhere that we had never heard of. Species 4789, whatever the number was, right? Who were that was an entirely different type of, you know what I mean, a race of aliens. It was something we had never even thought of, that they came from another dimension, and they were a threat. They were a very viable threat to everybody, right? And so there's always this question about the Vanduul, finding out, are the Vanduul, are they moving forward like locusts because that's their nature? Or are they doing it because something is pushing them out, right? There's all types of things that could come out of this, and they could unfold over lore and story. Even now, what we're doing with the whole regeneration crisis, right? I want them to continue doing things like that, and things that actually have impact, right? I want it to be where the regeneration crisis, that all of a sudden there's a percentage that says your regen may not work next time you come back, right? That you, this time, instead of regenerating, your character died, right? And now you've got to start your character over because the regen. So now everybody's being impacted. Those odds hit everybody. So that's going to drive everybody to say, we got to go get these resources to get the regen fixed. You know what I'm saying? Because we're losing, people are dying. So I would love to see them expand.
You want to encourage the player base. That'll do it.
I'm don't get me wrong. Money is fine, but I'm saying build another motive too, right? How everybody is being impacted by it. That's more on a global scale, right? That's everybody being impacted. You could have things that happen in regions. You could have disease break out somewhere, right? Or you could have a certain system where it costs more money to get healed in this system because they don't have the resources, where it costs less money in this system. There's all types of stuff that I would love to see them flesh out, right? And to keep things fresh, right? Things they keep updating, making available to us so that it doesn't become stagnant or static, right? That the universe, in Chris Roberts' words, is dynamic, that it's always changing and things are happening, and that the players are the ones that are having that influence, right? More than just static things that happen and, they come and go and disappear. Let me give a shout out real quick to Tancreed H. Thank you for the 500 bits. We appreciate that. Lord of the Drip, thank you for hooking up Mookins with that gifted sub. We appreciate that as well. We appreciate that as well. Okay.
Having said all that, I hope CIG does not go the road of other space sci-fi MMOs game and introduce space zombies. Please, CIG.
No.
Mass Effect had them. Star Wars, the Old Republic had them. The rat ghouls.
Yeah.
Please, no space zombies, CIG.
Yeah. I'm not too worried about that happening. Oh, Lefty 07, thank you. Good to see you, buddy. Give Javelin. He's looking for the Javelin next. He's looking for the Javelin. All right. Listen, I think we've got a couple of questions. You want to pull those up? We got one?
Yep.
Alrighty. Why don't you pull that one up?
The rest of them were joke, man. But yeah, we have one question from Parson Bay.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on exploration in-game? Has it changed because we're not getting 100 systems in 1.0?
What are my thoughts
about exploration in-game?
Exploration in-game. Has it changed because we're not? No. To be honest with you, Pops, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because I remember one of the first things that came out when CIG mentioned at CitizenCon that we were going to get these 5 systems at 1.0. And there were people who posted and said, I thought we were supposed to have 100 systems. That was never what was said. It hasn't changed. They want to work toward 100 systems, but there was never oh, we're going to have 100 systems. At least I don't remember that ever happening, like right away,
And
right?
also,
It's always been
and also,
progressive. Hmm.
and also because because of procedural planets and the technology that have evolved since 2012,
Yeah.
we have a lot more points of interest within those 5 systems
Yep.
than we would have they might have had in those 100 systems.
Well,
So
Z Doctor 5 just raised the point. And we've said this before, maybe you guys missed it, but they said it at CitizenCon last year. There were only supposed to be 90, I think it was 90, 94 POIs in the game when we were talking about 100 systems. That was it.
not a thousand.
There was only supposed to be 90 something POIs, and this was going to be at the 100 systems. And CIG changed that. And now we have literally hundreds, if not thousands, of POIs that are in the game. And so I'm not throwing no shade because I know people are going to think I'm throwing shade. People had this same reaction when they heard about Starfield. When they announced Starfield had all these systems, people were like, oh my God, that's so fabulous. And then when they got Starfield and found out that only 10% of the universe was populated, they were disappointed. 100 systems, let me finish something, fastcart. 100 systems is 80%, 90% dust. Okay? In reality, space doesn't have places to go everywhere other than for the sake of resource and exploration to see things. But if you're looking for landing zones and locations and things like that, you're not going to have that everywhere throughout a 100 system game. Look at how much landscape or how much real estate you have in Stanton and Pyro. If I'm remembering correctly, our next system is Nyx. Our next system after that is Castra. I think between those two systems, one is at 11 AU and the other one's a little bit bigger. And then Terra is after that, which is what, 30 or 40? How big is Terra? Do you remember, fastcart?
I forget.
The amount of real estate you're going to get with 5 systems is amazing. It is amazing. The amount
that's
that you
including all the points of interest.
no. I'm saying systems. I'm speaking of this.
Right.
The overall space is huge. Okay. When you get 10 systems, you're not going to even remember the name of the station you were at last time. 20 systems, 50 systems, it will be gigantic. So the 100 systems thing, I get it because that's what we heard in the beginning. But in the beginning, there were only 94 places to go with 100 systems. And so you're going to get way more stuff, way more space, more places to go with, even if it's just 10. I'm not saying they should stop at 10. I would love to see them continue to build out over the years. Right. I think your question's a good question, Pops, because some people keep focusing on the 100 systems thing, not knowing that that was a very limited space. You just would have been traveling and there may have been one landing spot there. And by the way, back then you weren't even going to be able to land. You're going to do the automated landing. There was no visiting all over the planet and going to this lake. And, none of that stuff was going to be there. That was an entirely different game back in the day. JJ says, hang on, let me read what JJ says. The 100 systems at launch was the $6 million stretch goal. That was, of course, based on a handful of POIs each. So it expanded, but they did specifically promise it. It's since changed. Yeah, I'm not saying that they're not going to do it, JJ, not by any means. I think that they are still going to aspire to having all the systems. I'm just saying that people made the assumption that all the systems were going to drop at one time. And I'm saying that's not what was going to happen. It's always been understood that systems would come out over a period of time. What that time is another story. But for those people who thought, well, 1.0, how come we don't have 100 systems? It's just not, that's not what was supposed to happen. What were you going to say, FC?
So in relation to Starfield, I just want to come out, try to quickly come out and say the CEO even came out and said making space games was hard. That's all I was going to point out because it is hard.
Yeah.
And people who have been following the development of Star Citizen and Squadron 42 can see how hard it can be.
Yeah.
I mean, look how hard it is just to get the elevator to work.
Yeah. Well, you know what, JJ, I hear what you're saying. Star Citizen will launch with 100 star systems. I agree. I'm not. Okay, let's agree that you're right. Let's agree that you're right. Star Citizen has already launched, my friend. It is already launched. people have asked, will there be a beta, or what does 1.0 mean? And I'm saying that Star Citizen has always been something that would come out over time. Here, and again, I agree with you about the 100 systems thing. I think that they're going to progress to it. But again, as you mentioned, it changed. Now, if you want to change it back to the original statement with 100 systems, let's also change it back to only 94 POIs. If we're going to hold on to the 100 systems when it launches, let's also hold on to the 94 POIs when it launches too. And I know you don't want to do that. So just like how the 94 the POIs expanded, so has this. This has changed. And I agree with you that that's what was said. I'm not going to dispute that. You are absolutely right, but it has changed. To your point, it has changed. Yeah, FC.
I think we have to like explain or explain when you mean Star Citizen is already out. You mean like it's still an alpha? It's still being.
I'm saying CIG. I'm saying CIG says it is a playable game. It has launched.
Right.
1.0 has not come out. Right? That's not heaven. Thank you. Chris Roberts called 1.0 the commercial release, not a beta. Not a beta.
That's what I wanted to explain.
Yeah. They've never implied. They've said 1.0 is it. Now, will there be a beta? Maybe they'll throw it in, but they've never said anything about a beta. And all I'm saying is that the game has launched. Has it launched in its complete fullness? No. That's all I'm saying. But I agree with what he's saying. I remember that was the deal. 100 systems when it comes out. But, again, that was also with 94 POIs. So if we're going to hold on to the promise, hold on to the whole promise, not half of it. Okay. And yeah, I think that was about it. Yep. Any other questions?
Nope.
Okie dokie. Okie dokie. All righty. Well, let's see what we have coming up next week.
While you're doing that, I'll do this.
Yes, please do. I brought it up, but I stopped looking to answer the question. So if you would take a look for me. Oh boy, DJ's on tonight. Let's talk about what we have going on next week. We have not had the opportunity to discuss 4.2 or 4.2.1. We've been so busy with so much stuff going on. We realized that we had not had a chance to give our review. And since the dust has settled a little bit, I think we can kind of have a halfway decent conversation about not only what's in these updates, but the state of the updates as well, as we're getting ready to approach within like the next month, maybe 4.3, which isn't far away as well. So hopefully you guys will join us next Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern time as we talk about the current update that we are all playing and having a good time, crazy time, or frustrated time, Ben. Also, I know that we have talked about Lore Lighthouse for so long now, but we had so much stuff going on leading up to Quantum Vegas 2955, and I know Serious Fun, as much as he intended to have this thing ready for us during the month of July, we just had way too much going on. And as you guys know, it just ended last week or week before last on the 12th. And so we kind of pushed things back one more month, so we can start talking about Lore Lighthouse. So we'll be looking forward to that. We'll give you more information on the time and date as we get closer to that. And we'll connect and give you guys all the information for that. FC, who do you have for us to see tonight? Or you could just tell me if it's there.
Oh, Insta Shinobi.
Insta Shinobi?
Yep.
Okay.
They're running resource drive hauling contract, and they only have 5 viewers at the moment. They've been going for 6 hours already, but yeah.
Oh, really? Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Come I don't see Insta Shinobi here. Usually I see it. I don't see it. You sent it to me?
I put it in the.
You did? Okay, it's in the thingy. Okay. Yeah. I had the wrong thing up. All right. We're going to send you all over to Insta Shinobi tonight. When you get there, let Insta Shinobi know that you came from the Soul Citizens. I want to give a special thank you to my good friend fastcart, who's here with me tonight. And once again, we hopefully will see you guys on next Sunday as we go through update 4.2. And again, thank you everybody who is here. Those of you who subbed, followed, we really appreciate you as always.
Other question?
Yes, thank you for the question too. And thank you all for the great dialogue and conversation in chat. And till next time, we'll see you guys later. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe. Peace, love, soul. Ciao.